I used to think turning 70 meant slowing down, fading quietly into the background, and letting the younger generation take the spotlight. But I've learned something that completely changed how I see this stage of life. Being over 70 doesn't mean life is winding down. It means it's deepening. It's a chapter where things finally start to make sense, but in a very different way. There are some things I used to believe were important. Habits I held on to, roles I tried to keep up with, expectations I kept trying to meet. But now, they just don't make sense anymore. In today's video, I'm sharing 12 things I wish someone had told me before I turned 70. These aren't just tips. They're hard-won lessons shaped by decades of life, love, mistakes, and grace. And I hope that whether you're 70 or getting close to it, this list will help you live with more clarity, freedom, and joy in the years ahead. Stick with me to the very end, because the last one might just change the way you look at your entire life. 1. Beauty doesn't live in the mirror anymore. When I was younger, I thought beauty lived in the mirror, in smooth skin, the right shade of lipstick, or the way a dress hugged just right. I spent years trying to look the part, trying to look young enough, fresh enough, put together enough. Like so many women, I was quietly convinced that beauty had an expiration date and that I had to race against it. But something changed after 70. One day, while sitting on the porch, my granddaughter looked at me and said, "Grandma, your smile makes everything feel better." That moment stayed with me, not because it was sweet, but because it was true. She wasn't seeing how I looked. She was seeing how I made her feel. That's when I realized, after 70, beauty doesn't live in the mirror anymore. It lives in your energy, in the way your eyes light up when you talk about something you love, in the way you laugh with your whole body, in the comfort you bring simply by being present. Those lines on your face? They're not flaws, they're proof that you've lived, loved, grieved, and grown. They're a map of a life that's been fully lived. So, no, I don't worry about anti-aging anymore. I'm not interested in fighting time. I'm interested in embracing what time has given me, wisdom, depth, and the kind of beauty that can't be bottled. Because real beauty isn't something you apply. It's something you carry. And once you understand that, no mirror can define you again. 2. Decluttering isn't just about stuff. It's about peace of mind. For years, I held on to things I didn't need, clothes that no longer fit, dishes I never used, gifts I kept out of guilt, closets full of maybe someday and just in case. At first, it felt harmless. What's the harm in keeping a few extras? But over time, I noticed something. Every drawer I opened made me feel a little heavier. Every cluttered corner whispered that I was behind, that I hadn't let go, that I was stuck. What started as physical clutter slowly became mental weight. I didn't realize how much energy it took to live among things that no longer served me. Then one afternoon, I decided to clean out a single drawer, just one. And when I closed it, neatly organized, a little emptier, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. That one drawer turned into one closet, then one room, then eventually the whole house. But the truth is, I wasn't just clearing out stuff. I was making space for movement, for breathing room, for peace. Letting go isn't always easy. Some items carry stories or memories or the idea of who we once were. But here's what I've learned. Your space should reflect who you are now, not who you used to be. Now, before I keep anything, I ask myself 2 questions. Does this bring me peace? And does it have a purpose in the life I live today? If the answer is no, I thank it for its time and I let it go. Because after 70, I'm no longer collecting things. I'm collecting peace. 3. Not every battle is yours to fight. I used to think stepping in meant caring, that every argument in the family needed my voice, that keeping the peace was somehow my responsibility. When my kids disagreed, I was the mediator. When friends had tension, I was the one smoothing things over. I believed I was helping until I realized I was carrying emotional weight that was never mine to begin with. There was a holiday years ago when my adult children argued about where to gather. I stepped in, tried to fix it, tried to make everyone happy. And you know what happened? No one was happy, least of all me. I ended up feeling hurt and caught in the middle. That day taught me something important. Not every battle is mine to fight. After 70, your emotional energy is sacred. You've spent a lifetime giving, fixing, and carrying the weight of other people's storms. Now, you get to step back. You get to choose peace over participation. That doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you love with boundaries. It means you understand that sometimes the most powerful act is silence. Letting others figure it out on their own, trusting that not every fire needs you to put it out. I've stopped inserting myself where I'm not invited. I no longer rush to fix what I didn't break, and I've found more peace in letting go than I ever did in holding everything together. Because here's the truth. Peacekeeping is noble, but peace living, that's the freedom you've earned. 4. Being busy isn't the same as being fulfilled. For most of my life, I believed that staying busy meant I was doing something right. A full calendar made me feel important, needed, even accomplished. After I turned 70, that mindset didn't change overnight. In fact, I got busier than ever. Birthday parties, volunteer meetings, book clubs, holiday gatherings. I said yes to everything. But slowly I started feeling something I didn't expect. Exhausted, overextended, empty. I was everywhere, but I wasn't really present anywhere. One Sunday morning, I missed my favorite time of the week, just sitting by the window with a cup of tea, journaling, and letting my mind breathe. Instead, I was rushing to a charity event I didn't even care about. That's when it hit me. I was filling my time, but not feeding my soul. After 70, time feels different. It feels more precious, more limited, and more personal. You begin to realize that not every request deserves a yes, and not every invitation is worth attending. Now, before I commit to anything, I ask myself 2 simple questions. Does this bring me joy? And do I truly have the energy for it? If the answer is no, I let it go. No guilt, no apologies. Because saying no to others often means saying yes to yourself. And that's a choice worth making. Today, my calendar looks lighter, but my days feel fuller. I'm no longer chasing a full schedule. I'm choosing a full life. 5. Perfection is exhausting, and it's almost never worth it. I used to believe that doing things perfectly was a sign of love. A spotless house meant I cared. A flawless dinner meant I tried hard enough. I'd scrub until midnight before guests arrived, obsess over the matching plates, and try out complicated recipes just to impress. There was one Thanksgiving I remember clearly. I spent days cleaning, planning, decorating. I wanted it to feel just right. But when the day came, I was so tired, I barely sat down. I missed the stories being told around the table. I didn't notice the laughter. I wasn't really there. And the truth? No one even noticed the tiny details I obsessed over. They didn't care about the centerpiece I made by hand or that the napkins matched the dessert plates. What they remembered, what I remembered, was my absence. That day changed something in me. I began to question who I was doing all this for. Was it really for them? Or was it to prove something to myself? After 70, I've learned that perfection is a trap. It's a moving target that keeps you anxious and distracted from what actually matters. The dust on the shelf won't ruin the conversation. The cake that sags a little still tastes sweet. These days, I leave space for imperfection. I laugh when things go sideways. I focus on warmth, not wow factor. People don't come into your life to be impressed. They come to feel welcome, to feel seen, to feel loved. So I stopped chasing perfect. Because presence is what people really remember. 6. Taking care of your health isn't a chore. It's a privilege. There was a time when I brushed off every ache and pain. A sore knee, just aging, a stiff shoulder, nothing a little rest couldn't fix. I told myself it was normal, that this was just how it goes when you get older, so I ignored it. Until one day I couldn't walk up the stairs without wincing. I sat down in the doctor's office and heard words I didn't expect. If you had come in earlier, this would have been easier to treat. That moment stuck with me, not because it scared me, but because I realized how careless I'd been with something so valuable. After 70, taking care of your health isn't optional. It's not a side task. It's the foundation for everything else. And yet, we treat it like an afterthought. I used to reach for whatever was quick and easy in the kitchen, microwave dinners, packaged snacks, but they left me feeling sluggish, heavy and drained. Now, I cook simple, nourishing meals and plan ahead so I'm not tempted by shortcuts. I also started stretching every morning. Nothing fancy. 10 minutes, just me and my breath. It helps my joints, but more importantly, it helps my mind. It reminds me that I still have control. And yes, I go to the doctor, even when it feels inconvenient, even when it's just a little thing. Because I've learned the hard way. Small problems become big ones when you pretend they're not there. Taking care of your health isn't a burden. It's a gift you give to your future self. The ability to move, to think clearly, to enjoy a meal or a walk in the sun, that's real freedom. And after everything your body has carried you through, the least it deserves is your attention. 7. Letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-respect. For a long time, I thought loyalty meant staying in friendships that drained me, staying in conversations that left me feeling small, staying connected to people out of guilt, habit, or history. There was one friend in particular. We'd known each other for over 30 years. Every time we met, I'd leave the conversation feeling heavy. She complained constantly, criticized everyone around her, and somehow always made me feel like I wasn't doing enough, being enough, living enough. But I kept showing up. I told myself, we've been friends for so long, it would be wrong to walk away. But here's what I've learned. Just because a relationship is old doesn't mean it's healthy. And just because someone's been in your life for decades doesn't mean they deserve space in your peace. One day, after yet another exhausting lunch, I sat in my car and asked myself, why am I doing this? The only answer I had was guilt, and guilt is a terrible reason to keep giving someone your time. So I stepped back. It wasn't dramatic. I just stopped making plans, stopped picking up every call. And slowly, the space I made by letting go began to fill with something else. Relief, lightness, peace. After 70, every moment matters. You shouldn't spend your precious time with people who make you question your worth or steal your joy. You deserve relationships that nourish you, that make you feel seen and supported, that leave you smiling, not second-guessing yourself. Walking away isn't selfish. It's self-respect, and you're allowed to choose peace, even if it means letting go of someone you once loved. 8. It's never too late to start something new. For most of my life, I was busy being what everyone needed me to be. A mother, a wife, a caregiver, a friend. I don't regret a minute of it. But somewhere along the way, I put away the parts of myself that were curious, playful, and creative. The parts that wanted to explore, to learn, to try something just for the joy of it. After 70, with the noise of obligations quieted, I found myself wondering, what if I tried something new? What if I didn't have to be good at it, just open to it? So I signed up for a painting class at the community center. I walked in nervous, unsure, feeling out of place. Everyone else seemed to know what they were doing. I didn't. But then I dipped the brush into paint and let it move across the canvas. And for the first time in years, I felt like a beginner, and it was freeing. I've since taken up gardening. I started writing a few lines in a journal every morning. I even joined a local choir. Am I the best at any of these things? Number. But that's not the point. The point is that I'm alive. I'm learning. I'm expanding. You're never too old to be curious, to create something with your hands, to try, fail, laugh, and try again. There's no age limit on joy. So if there's something you've always wanted to try, a language, an instrument, a dance class, do it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait to be perfect. Just begin. Because starting something new isn't about proving anything. It's about reminding yourself that life still has more to offer, and you still have more to give. 9. Avoiding technology doesn't protect you. It isolates you. I used to say things like, "Oh, that's for the younger folks," whenever someone brought up phones, tablets, or anything with a screen. Technology felt complicated, intimidating, even a little unnecessary. I told myself I didn't need it, and maybe that was true for a while. But one afternoon, my granddaughter asked if I wanted to video chat with her while she was away at college. I said yes, and she handed me a tablet. My hands shook a little as I held it. She laughed gently and said, "Don't worry, Grandma. I'll show you." That tiny moment opened a door I didn't even know was closed. I started small, video calls, searching for recipes, watching gardening videos. Then I found a whole world of people my age sharing stories, tips, and encouragement. I even joined an online book club and found myself laughing with strangers who felt like old friends. Technology isn't just about learning buttons and apps. It's about staying connected to your family, to your community, to the world that's still moving around you. No, you don't have to master every gadget or understand every trend, but refusing to learn keeps you further away from conversations, from opportunities, from the simple joys of being part of something bigger. Now, when I don't understand something, I ask. I let my grandkids teach me. I Google it. I try and I mess up. But I keep going. Because the moment you believe you're too old to learn, you start shrinking your life. And you deserve more than that. You deserve connection, wonder, and growth, no matter how many candles are on your cake. 10. Living for other people's approval will drain you. For most of my life, I worried about what other people thought. I dressed a certain way, hosted the right kind of parties, said yes when I wanted to say no, all in the name of being polite, liked, accepted. Even when I thought I was doing something for myself, a small voice would ask, "But what will people think?" That voice lived in my closet, in my calendar, in the choices I made about how to show up in the world. Then one day, I was getting ready for a community dinner. I pulled out a bright floral dress I loved, then hesitated. Too loud, I thought, too much. I reached for something safer, more muted. That's when my daughter walked by and said, "Mom, why not wear the one that makes you happy?" So I did, and guess what? People smiled. A few gave compliments. But more importantly, I felt good. Not because of what they said, but because I finally dressed for myself. That one moment became a quiet turning point. I stopped second-guessing everything through someone else's eyes. I started asking myself a new question. Does this feel like me? After 70, you realize that you've spent enough time living for others, trying to meet invisible standards, trying to keep everyone comfortable. But your joy, your peace, your self-expression, they're not negotiable anymore. You've earned the right to take up space, brightly, boldly, unapologetically. So wear what you love, say what you mean, do what feels right, not because it's popular, not because it's expected, but because it's finally time to live like your life belongs to you and no one else. 11. Ignoring your finances doesn't make the stress go away. Talking about money used to make me uncomfortable. I grew up in a time when we didn't talk about personal finances, especially not as women. We were told to make do, to stretch a dollar, to not ask too many questions. And for years, I followed that script. I spent, I saved, I hoped for the best. But after 70, hoping for the best isn't enough. Life gets real, medical bills pop up, home repairs don't wait, and sometimes family members need help when you least expect it. I've seen both sides. friends who avoided their finances until it was too late, and suddenly they were scrambling, stressed, and scared. And others who were so afraid of running out of money, they never let themselves enjoy a single penny. Somewhere in the middle, I found something powerful: clarity. I sat down with a financial advisor, not a fancy one, just someone I trusted. We talked through everything: what I had, what I spent, what I actually wanted my money to do for me. And you know what? It wasn't nearly as scary as I thought. In fact, it was freeing. Now I know what I can afford, I know what I want to leave behind, and I know how to treat myself without guilt. Because after all these years of working, saving, giving, you deserve to enjoy what you've earned. You deserve peace of mind, not just getting by. It's never too late to take control of your money. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to stop avoiding it. Because understanding your finances isn't about wealth, it's about freedom. And that kind of freedom, it's priceless. 12. Aging isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. For years, I was afraid of aging, not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet, subtle ways we all are. I avoided mirrors when the light was too harsh. I hesitated to mention my age in conversations. I downplayed birthdays, and I certainly didn't talk about how many candles were on the cake. There was this unspoken message all around me. Aging is decline. Aging is loss. Aging is something to hide. But then one morning, I looked in the mirror and saw something different. I saw my mother's smile in the curve of my mouth. I saw my own strength in the lines on my face. And I thought, this isn't decay. This is proof. Every wrinkle on my skin is a story I survived. Every silver strand is a season I grew through. Every year is a chapter that made me wiser, softer, and braver. Aging is not about becoming invisible. It's about becoming undeniable. No, I don't move as quickly as I used to. And yes, some things ache a little more than they did. But I've never felt more grounded, more awake, more present in my life. Because now I'm not chasing anything. I'm not trying to impress, to perform, to keep up. I'm simply being, fully, unapologetically. We spend so much of our lives trying to become someone. And then one day we realize we already are. So I no longer fear aging. I welcome it. Because growing older isn't losing who you are. It's finally becoming who you were always meant to be. If you're still here with me, I want to thank you. Not just for watching, but for sharing this space, this reflection, this moment of honesty. These 12 lessons didn't come easy. They came through years of trying, failing, learning, and finally letting go. And if even one of them made you pause, smile, or feel a little more seen, then this video has done its job. Here's what I want you to remember. Life after 70 isn't a slow fade. It's a sharpening, a softening, a deepening. It's not the end of your story. It's one of the richest chapters yet. So whether you're just entering this season or have been living in it for a while, I hope you know this. You still have so much to give, so much to enjoy, so much to become. And if any part of this video spoke to your heart, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. I read every word, and your stories mean more than you know. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss more conversations like this. And if you'd like a little extra wisdom in your inbox each week, I'd love for you to join my newsletter. It's linked below. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, this season of life, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. One honest, beautiful day at a time.